When the scholars and astronomers first saw that bright new star in the sky, they were certain that it must be a sign of something important. As they conferred, they became convinced that the star told of the birth of a new king. And as they researched, they came to the conclusion that the star told of the birth of the King of the Jews. And so a group of these magi decided that they would go to meet this newborn king. Putting together such a journey is quite the undertaking. They weren't exactly sure how long it would take them to get where they were going. They didn't even know exactly where they would go. But from what they could determine, they knew that at least some of the journey would take them through the desert, and so they chose to travel by camel. Camels have big, broad feet so that they don't sink down in the desert sands, and they can go days without water, helpful when you're traveling in the desert. The Magi sent an assistant out to buy the necessary camels for them to ride, camels to carry their supplies, their water, their food, camels to carry their gifts. The assistant went to the market, and one of the camels he chose was a female with long legs known to be particularly strong. The camel seller failed to mention that this female had recently calved, and somehow the assistant didn't notice the calf. It could have been that the calf was curled up sleeping a distance from its mother, and the assistant didn't connect the two. You might have thought he'd have noticed when he herded those camel back. But there were a number of camels, and that baby stayed so close to its mother that he wasn't noticeable. Packing for such a journey was chaotic. Coming and going, hauling things back and forth, loading and unloading the camels, adding more sacks and packs, taking things off, discarding what was too heavy and wouldn't fit, fetching more of what had been forgotten. And through all of that, the baby camel remained unnoticed. Perhaps he seemed just like a shadow at his mother's feet. He was always so close to her, nursing at her side, resting at her feet. And the beginning of the journey was a hubbub. So much noise and confusion, so many people, so many packs, that the baby camel was shielded from sight. It wasn't until they were well out in the desert that the Magi realized a baby camel was part of their traveling party. And by then, it was too late to send him back. And besides, they needed his mother. They slowed their pace a little to accommodate the baby, but he had to hurry to keep up. Oh, sure, a baby camel has long legs, but not as long as those of a grown-up camel. They traveled by night, and the little camel was ready to collapse each morning by the time the sun rose. He nursed and fell instantly to sleep. They traveled for so long and over so many varied terrains, up and over mountains, across rocky plains, up and down sandy dunes in the desert. They stopped for a few days at a palace, and the little camel was so grateful for a proper stable and rest. But then they moved on again. One night, the Magi seemed especially excited. They seemed convinced that they were almost at their destination. And maybe that was why they drove the camels a little harder, a little faster. The baby camel found he was running to keep up. He ran so hard that he tripped over his own tired legs and fell in the dust just outside town. Well, when he finally unfolded his legs and picked himself up, he had fallen behind the caravan, and he ran again to catch up to them. He ran so hard, thinking only that he had to reconnect with his mother, that he couldn't be left behind. He was so focused on catching up that he didn't really look. He didn't see that everyone else in the caravan had stopped. He couldn't stop. He crashed past the other camels, past the Magi, and fell right at the feet of a beautiful young woman holding a baby. "Oh my," she said, "a baby not much older than my own. You must have come a long way, little camel, and on such short little legs. Well done." And she reached down to pat the camel. And when she reached down, the baby reached out and touched the camel. "You deserve a reward," Mary said. "From now on, you will deliver gifts to the children." And so every year, on the anniversary of Jesus' birth, a little camel delivers gifts to the children of the Middle East. Not gold or frankincense or myrrh, but gifts I'm sure children appreciate.